I wanted to go over the Quiz 4 practice quiz solutions for some of you who may not have gotten mastery on Quiz 4. So I thought this would be a good way to review with you how to use a contingency table for probability questions. So I provided this contingency table about skiing, and any given person could be intermediate, beginner, intermediate, or advanced, or they could have their favorite skiing in Tahoe, Utah, or Colorado. All of these answers, except one, are fractions out of 290. The probability that a skier leaves skiing is best in Utah. Utah, 100 people voted for Utah out of 290. And so that's all you need to write down for that. If you want to get a decimal, then you can type in 100 divided by 290 on your calculator, and that will be 34%, 0.3448. So that would be about 34%. I don't need you to reduce your fractions. Decimal is fine or not. Fraction would be fine as well. What is the probability that a skier is an intermediate and believes the skiing is best in Colorado? 40 out of 290. So I got that by looking at the intermediate people, but then I'm also looking at they have to believe that skiing is best in Colorado. And so the only people that actually meet this criteria are these people, 40 out of 290. So the and comes from where two circles overlap. The and is the intersection of the two circles. You have to meet both criteria. So only 40 people said, yes, I'm an intermediate, and yes, the skiing is best in Colorado. 40 out of 290 is 0.137. So I'd say 0.14 or 14%. Okay, what is the probability that a skier is an intermediate or believes the skiing is best in Colorado? So this is almost the same question as the last one, but when we say or, now we're allowing anybody who's in either of the circles. So let me use red here. Anybody over here, anybody over here, anybody who says yes to both, all of those are acceptable. So I'm going to erase what I have marked up on this chart, and let's take a look. What is the probability that a skier is an intermediate or believes the skiing is best in Colorado? There's two ways to do this. All the intermediate people, so you can say that there are 100 intermediate skiers, and there are 100 people who think the skiing is best in Colorado. But if you say, oh, then that's 200 out of 290, you accidentally counted these people twice. So don't count the 40 twice. If you want to, you can do 100 plus 100 minus 40, and you'll get 160. Another way is to take 100 plus 40 plus 50. I meant 10 plus 40 plus 50 plus 30 plus 30. Okay, what did I say here? 30 plus 30 plus 40 plus 10 plus 50. I don't know why I did it in that order, but you get the idea. These are all the black circled items. And if I do it this way, then I don't count these people twice. So the main thing is don't double count the people who meet both criteria, only count them once. You should get 160 out of 290. And again, my instructions in this say not to go any further, but if you want to get a decimal, then the decimal would be 0.5517. So 0.55 is fine, that's 55%. Okay, and then this last question D, what is the probability that a skier believes the skiing is best in Utah given that the skier is a beginner? Given that the skier is a beginner. That means we're only looking at beginners. So I'm going to undo this marking. We're only looking at beginners in this case. So the given that tells you that we're focusing our attention right here. And now the question is, what is the probability that a skier believes the skiing is best in Utah? 10 out of 40. This is the only time that our total is not 290. So this is the time where we just say 10 out of the total of beginners, which is 40. So that would work out to be 0.25 or 25%. I'm not so worried about this part, I'm just worried about you knowing that when we say given that, we change to a different denominator. Now, if you are going to retake this quiz, you may or may not be asked to find the decimal, but we always find the decimal by doing 10 divided by 40 to get 0.25. Continuing on, suppose that 21% of Americans use the social media app TikTok. What is the probability of randomly selecting an American who does not use TikTok? I had a student tell me that this percentage is not very accurate. They think that more than 21% of them use TikTok. Okay, that's probably true. Anyway, 79% would be left. And these are complementary events. Complementary events are events that together make up all the possibilities. So using TikTok and not using TikTok, you have to be in one group or the other, and those are complementary events. The probability of spinning and landing on a four-sided die is 1/5. I didn't mean to say four-sided die. The probability of spinning and landing on a 4 is 1/5 because there's 5 regions on this spinner, and 1/5 is 20%. 1 divided by 5 gives us 0.20. Our class decides to do an experiment to calculate the experimental probability. Each student will spin 10 times. The experimental probability is different than the theoretical probability, which we already know is 1/5. But the experimental probability is talking about our specific experiment. How many times did you land on 4 out of the total spins? Maybe you got 3 out of 10. That is not 20%. That is 30%. But that is a possibility with an experimental probability. You might also just get 1 out of 10, or you could get 2 out of 10. We're not sure what's going to happen, but the percentage of spins that land on 4 will get closer and closer to 20% the more spins we do. We only did 10. If we did 20 or 100, that likelihood is going to get closer to the theoretical probability. The experimental probability will eventually approach the theoretical probability. It'll get a lot closer to it.